The People's Democratic Party, the PDP, moved a step ahead in their bid to seek what they call a redress to the outcome of the presidential elections, as the appeal grants an ex parte motion filed by Alhaji Atiku Abubakar seeking access to election materials and makes certified true copies of the same. The panel of the appeal court, led by Justice Abdul Aboki, however, turned down the request to scan and carry out a forensic audit of the electoral materials. Our correspondent, Amaka Okafo, now reports.
On Monday, the 5th of March 2019, lawyers to the People's Democratic Party candidate for the 2019 presidential election, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, filed a motion ex parte asking for orders of the court to allow him access all documents and materials used by the Independent National Electoral Commission in the presidential elections. In the ex parte motion dated March 4th and filed March 5th, Atiku and the PDP specifically applied that the appellate court, serving as the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, compel the electoral body to allow their agents to scan and make photocopies of vital documents used in the last presidential elections. The applicants hinged the appeal on the grounds that Alhaji Abubakar contested in the just concluded presidential election, that he is dissatisfied with the outcome of the election, that he requires all the materials used for the election for the filing and maintenance of an election petition, and that time is of essence in the case. In a unanimous ruling delivered by Justice Abdul Aboki, the court allowed the motion and also ordered that INEC, which is the first respondent in the motion, to allow Atiku access to the election materials. The court, however, refused to press 3 to 5, which sought an order to scan and carry out a forensic analysis of the electoral materials.
No, it's just leave. It's order for inspection of document, which is the first step in election petition. And today, the Court of Appeal, sitting as the Presidential Election Tribunal, has granted us that order to inspect documents that INEC used in conducting the election. That's the summary.
About the content down phrase 3 to 5?
No. Those are the prayers that will come up during the pre-hearing session.
Alhaji Abubakar has scored over 11 million votes to come second in the February 23rd presidential election, as against the over 15 million votes declared by INEC for President Buhari and the APC. Amaka Okafo, Channels Television News.
And it's a disappointing news for the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress in Taraba State, Sani Danladi, as the Federal High Court today in Jalingo disqualified him from participating in Saturday's governorship elections. The court based its ruling over allegations of falsification of age in the document supplied to the Independent National Electoral Commission by Mr. Danladi. Danladi had presented Taraba North Senatorial District in the National Assembly on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, before joining the ruling All Progressives Congress in 2017. He is Governor Darius Ishaku's main challenger in Taraba State. And still on the elections, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukuratu, has threatened to deal with all persons planning to perpetrate any form of violence during the governorship polls. The Chief of Army Staff, who addressed senior officers in Abuja, explained that the Army is committed to enforcing all guidelines in support of the police to ensure the peaceful conduct of the elections.
Recent security threat assessment and analysis of the coming elections showed that politicians have made plans to use all means available to truncate the peaceful conduct of the elections. There are indications of their intent to take advantage of and to use the farmers' hardest crisis, armed political thugs and ethnic militia to perpetrate acts of violence, including bombings. Some of them also intend to infiltrate domestic staff of political opponents, employ mercenaries to carry out acts of assassinations, use of the social media for smear campaigns, hate speeches, and spread fake news in a bid to disrupt the peaceful conduct of the elections. We shall be tough on those who plan to wreak or disrupt the electoral process. I therefore want to appeal to Nigerian youth to shun any attempt by any politician to use them to perpetrate any form of violence.
Residents of Abonema in Akuku, Toro local government area of River State are still mourning the deaths of their loved ones during the presidential and National Assembly elections on February the 23rd. To cater for the families of those who died, the River State Governor Nyesom Wike has set up a bond to be supervised by the Deputy Governor. Beneficiaries include the soldier who also lost his life. Our correspondent Emmanuel Ere reports.
The first Wednesday of every month in this town is what the people call a mateke, which means community prayer, which brings people together across party and religious lines to pray for the peace of Abonema. But on this day, there is a twist to the program, as family and friends of those who lost their lives during the presidential and National Assembly elections choose to mourn their dead. Welcome to Abonema. Perhaps these are not the best of times, as the people are still in shock and disbelief over the recent killings in the town.
Our town used to be a peaceful and cool town. Where crisis will happen, people will come and hide. But I don't know what is happening now. This election has turned up to something else, which we don't understand any longer.
The over a century-old St. Paul's Inyemoni Church is a venue of the solemn assembly. The state governor, the national chairman of the PDP, government officials, traditional rulers, and other guests gather to mourn the dead and seek God's protection ahead of the governorship and state assembly elections. The looks on the faces of the men and women of the community reflect the dark picture.
I saw bodies in gutters, shattered with bullets. Who got the photographs? And I asked myself the question, these ones have parents who will never see their children again.
For the Amanayaba of Abonema, attempts were made to reach out across the political divides to check the rising tension. But now, the people have decided.
The council has met, and we have sent words out to all the political parties. And we have told them, tomorrow you must sign for us. Anybody who does not sign, whatever happens in this Abonema, we will hold that person responsible. And when I say hold responsible, I mean it.
The governor also laments the situation.
I watched on television last night when somebody in the national television from our own state would say that Abonema is the hideout of militants and criminals. It's most unfortunate that we play politics to that extent.
While an uneasy calm prevails on the island of Abonema, the people look forward to the next elections, hoping that this time the polls will come and go without bloodletting. Emmanuel Ere, Channels Television News.
Security may remain a major challenge even with the governorship elections on Saturday, but how well is INEC dealing with these concerns? We're now being joined by Mustafa Leki. He is a National Commissioner of INEC. He joins us from our Abuja studios. I want to thank you so much indeed for joining us at this time. A couple of issues, let's get those ones out straight first. Taraba State governorship candidate for the APC dropped, and there are also concerns about cases pending even up to this time. During the presidential elections, it was shifted over allegations of the commission with litigations. But how is INEC handling all these fresh new concerns that are propping up?
Thank you very much for having me on. Some of these new developments with regards to court rulings are just like breaking news to INEC. We have not actually been formally given the documentation to that effect. And so we're also watching. We expect to get this proper documentation from the court. As you know, INEC is a law-abiding institution, and so we'll be guided by whatever the court say. We'll never break the rules. And so if this court ruling, like in the case you just mentioned with respect to Taraba, we'll just abide by what the court ruling is. It is true that this has been very challenging, to INEC, but again, like I said, INEC is an institution that obeys court judgment, and we grapple with all the challenges and then move forward, with it.
So with regards to River State in particular and the happenings of upheavals which were recorded just barely a couple of days, or should I say hours back now, how prepared are you with regards to River State?
Well, you know, the next stanza of election is the state-level election, the gubernatorial, in about 29 or so odd states where the elections will hold, as well as the State House of Assembly, where it's going to happen across all the 36 states, including the FCT. INEC is prepared. We have deployed effectively all our sensitive materials have reached the various state capitals, and in a number of states are being packaged, readiness for deployment starting today and tomorrow to the various local governments. So we are prepared logistically for the, for the elections coming up this Saturday. We've also, tomorrow, we'll be having a meeting with the ISES, which is the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security, to look at our state of readiness in terms of security going forward. There will be also a number of supplementary elections, a number of places where there were inconclusive elections as far as National Assembly, Senatorial, as well as the House of the Federal House of Rep is concerned, in a number of about 14 odd states that are so affected. So I would say that we are ready, and we hope that people will have even a better, pleasant voting experience come this Saturday.
Has been reverberated by just about everyone in the country. We must sincerely thank you, Mustafa Lekki, INEC National Commissioner, for talking to us on the News at 10. President Muhammad Buhari has encouraged Nigerians to come out in their numbers on Saturday to vote in their governorship and State House of Assembly lawmakers' elections. The president also asked citizens to avoid all deviant behavior, including ballot stuffing and snatching, or any action contrary to best electoral practices. He offered an assurance that security agencies will protect voters and ensure that the process is not undermined in any way. According to the president, quote, "May I repeat my appeal to our young people, do not allow yourselves to be used to cause violence or break the law or otherwise disturb the peace. I have pledged a decent and credible electoral system for our country. I stand by that promise." End of quote. He called on Nigerians to make the governorship polls much better than the presidential, which local and international observers have adjudged to be free and fair.
The second and final phase of the 2019 general elections comes up on Saturday, March 9th, with Nigerians voting for governors and members of the houses of assembly in the states. Let me once again extend my condolences to the families of those who lost their lives or sustained injuries as a result of accidents or criminal violence during the elections. The onus is once again on qualified people to turn out in large numbers to exercise their civic rights. With the presidential poll behind us, let us not become complacent and fail to vote in the gubernatorial poll. The forthcoming elections are as important for good governance as that of the presidency and the National Assembly. Indeed, governance at the state level is closer to us and should touch our lives more directly. That is why it is vital for us to participate in the choice of who governs us at the state level. I, therefore, urge you to troop out massively on Saturday to elect your governors and state lawmakers. As a member of All Progressive Congress, I recommend those standing on the platform of the party to you, as we are guided by progressive ideals, and we will not disappoint you. Let us together do the right thing on Saturday, so that the best hands can emerge as the states and take us faster to the next level.